Uh, Friends, I'm out, so I'll switch off my video today. Please forgive. And as usual, last week was successful, and this is LLP series. And today we have a masterclass on LLP, Incorporation and Partners Relations, Liability and Contributions. Please, friends, keep in mind that there is a series, so there are other subjects also which will be covered in subsequent series. Okay, and so that's why everyone is requested to raise the questions relevant to today's topic. We will cover entire LLP, conversion and penalties and everything. So please wait. Don't ask the questions. We will not take it. And Mr. Bala, don't take the questions which is not pertaining to this topic, because we will be having the series. Okay. And there will be the questions for that. So today's, as you know, our panelist is Mr. Thirupal. Everyone knows Thirupal. I need not introduce, but I have to formally introduce. And our Mr. Bala, as usual. Mr. Bala, last week we missed you. And Mr. Sudhakar, everyone knows. And yes, friends, happy Lori, happy Pongal, happy Makar Sankranti to everyone. We are in a good day today. Thanks a lot, everyone, for your wishes. So let me formally introduce Mr. Thirupal. And Mr. Thirupal is one of the partner of Thirupal, Gorige, and Associates LLP, CS firm, Bangalore. Deal with various corporate law practice. Is a FCS and IP as well. And he has handled 3 IP case, IRP cases, and as a liquidator and volunteer liquidation and speaker at various forums, workshops, seminars organized by various and organizations like ICSI, ICI, ICWI, IIM Bangalore, IOD, etc. Welcome, Thirupal, to this our session. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
And as friends, you know that last week we were not able to complete this presentation, so we have to extend that last week's presentation to this week. And we will hope that today we'll complete. And so this is the request. As you know, Mr. Bala, our own CS with 4 decades of experience in secretarial compliance, regular speaker. His articles comes day in, day out. Mr. Sudhakar, who is associated with chief consultant of Mehta and Mehta. He is a CSCS and ICSI. He is a member of ICSI, Institute of Chartered Secretary and Administrator UK, and also worked as a VP and Corporate Secretarial Department for Reliance Industry Limited for 17 years. Welcome all. And our today's panelist is Jasveen. And Jasveen, I think after marriage, your this first presentation, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Very passionate partner. You mentioned Jasveen Bindra only, so I was confused whether I should say what. Okay. And she's a partner from Aurangabad. And Jasveen is a passionate reader and presenter. So thanks, Jasveen. And questions have started, so I'll not continue here further. And I'll request Mr. Sudhakar to take over, say a few words, then Mr. Bala, and then Thirupal, and then Jasveen, you can start.
Thirupal start first, Dipti. Thirupal, you may please say a few words about today's topic, and thereafter I will say.
Yeah, thanks.
Good morning, all. Today we are going to move ahead with the incorporation process, then liabilities of partners, rights, and creation of partnership agreement, and some other incidental activities. So we'll focus on these aspects alone, even while answering the queries as well. You can limit your queries related to this topic so that it will be interested, so that we can answer all, specific questions related to the today's topic. Though we can answer all, but we will be wasting time unless we discuss deeply about the subject. Addressing queries is not correct. So we will move to this specific subject today. Okay, I am here to share my knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Thirupal. Good morning, everyone. And before about Thirupal has already talked about the topic, and Bala will also say about that. In fact, last week I was in Mumbai, addressed 2 programs, one at CCGRT. So during the tea break at CCGRT program, that several professionals who are mostly youngsters, they were interacting, and one question they have put up is that the laws are becoming so huge day by day, whether it is Companies Act or whether it is listing regulations, whether it is insider trading regulations, all these things. And okay, so how to read through all this and then how to get expertise in that? That is really a good question, because these days we have everything except time. Okay. Now, whether you are in practice or you are in service, immaterial it is, what we don't have is only time. And how to get this good command or good knowledge about the subject? That is one question. This is nothing new. This was there right from the beginning. When I entered the profession in the year 1985, we were grappling with the same thing. Today also, and even after down the line, after 2-3 decades also, we have the same question. Time, nobody is having the time. I always take the example of Mr. Mukesh Ambani, who used to say that he also has 24 hours. We also have 24 hours. How he is able to handle a big conglomerate like Reliance or Mr. Narendra Modi, who is running a country like India and progressing so well. After that, what happens is, I was telling them that no doubt about it, you cannot read each and everything. When you go for a function in the buffet, you cannot eat everything. You have to plan out what you want to exactly eat, what is your staple food, what you like, and what you want to taste. Whatever you like, you take it a bit more, and whatever it is there, like that. So if you want to read Companies Act also, if you want to read listing regulations, IBC, Company Competition Act, everything may not be possible. 2 is that whenever you attend any programs organized by the institutes or any webinars organized by any forums, definitely on that particular topic, before attending that, please read that. After that, you attend that program. Question the faculties. Then the concept clarity will be there and you can gain the knowledge. Say, for example, in our own webinars in Mehta, all the participants know that whatever the topics we are picking up, they are all useful both to the company secretaries who are in the practice and who are in the service. And what we are doing is, we are not taking up these topics in just one program. We are actually virtually organizing it masterclass on these subjects. Started with secretarial standards. After that, we have picked up RPT. After that, we have picked up insider trading regulations, then listing regulation, then corporate social responsibility. Now it is limited liability partnership. On each and every topic, we have organized not less than 4 to 5 webinars, organizing one kind of a masterclass on every topic. And all these webinars are available on the YouTube also. So whenever anybody wants to see that, okay, in this particular line, I want to do it. I want to gain a good knowledge on RPT, good knowledge on insider trading regulations, good knowledge on LLPs. So please attend the webinars. And before that, we are announcing the topic. Come prepared, so that when the presenter making the presentation or when the faculties are further adding value to that, you will be able to appreciate that. And obviously in that process, you are gaining the knowledge also. Wherever you have some kind of a doubts, you can always get it clarified from the faculty's concerned. This is how you can make your own way of gaining the knowledge, and some kind of a plan you can do it. At the same point of time, I always say that any of the participants, in addition to the topics what we are organizing, in case you are interested in some other topics we want to organize these webinars, kindly do suggest to us. We will keep that in mind, and at an appropriate time, we will certainly take up those topics and organize the programs accordingly. So I give a pause here and request Bala to say further, and then before making that, Jasveen makes her presentation. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. I have a pleasure in welcoming you all in the new year. And let us also wish across the country people the festive mood is there actually. Makara Sankrant, Pongal in south, Lagari in North, all these functions are there. Let me wish each one of you from the festive. Coming to the topic, Mr. Sudhakar touched upon nobody has got a time. It's not the question of nobody has got a time. Time we have to manage. Balancing the time is actually very, very important. How you divide the time, how you give the priority, that is the thing. In fact, really speaking, in my earlier days, somehow or other, I decided, no, let me divide the time by 1/3. 1/3 of the time is actually allocated by my professional life. 1/3 of the time is allocated for my family. 1/3 of the time allocated for myself, which includes the sleep. Then the question is, when we are falling short of the time, from which part we have to borrow the time? Can we actually forego the professional time, or when we have to go the family time, where we have to borrow our own time? That is where the, the conflict arises, where we can compromise. Definitely, if you want to excel in professional, we cannot compromise in the professional at all. As Sudhakar touched upon it, we cannot be master of everything. Although we would like to know everything, but at the same time, we need to be somewhere our core competency in a particular area. That is why we see there are, IBC professionals, there are FEMA people who are there, who are practicing criminal lawyer, civil lawyer, specialized people. That is what we look into. So we need to determine ourselves where we start, where we go, what we want to do. That should be very clear in our mind. If that is the case, that we can always balance the things. And coming to this seminars, these seminars for the last 2 years, right from the inception, I've been associated with the Mehta and Mehta. We've been organizing good amount of the seminar and good amount of the topic. And in fact, by looking at the number now itself, about 184 numbers in the beginning, it itself shows what is the importance of the topic, what we are picking up, what is the knowledge we are actually sharing each one of it. In the process, as Sudhakar said, is come prepared so that, there's a meaningful discussion take place. I fully agree with this. What happens in seminar, when we come here, we have some understanding, but we wanted to get confirmed our opinion. We want to confirm ourselves whether we are saying is right or different alternative interpretation is available. That is where we get the expert here. Today, we have Mr. Thirupal, who is actually having a very, very practical experience. Learning the subject is one thing, but learning from the people who actually handle, that is, learning the experience from the others is the wisest thing which one can do. We can learn from our own experience also. How many people will get their own experience is really doubtful. So we pick up the experience for the other people we actually learn. So from that extent, Mr. Thirupal will be actually sharing his practical experience on this subject. And again, as Sudhakar actually puts it, this webinar, which was actually planned last year, got spilled over to this particular week also. That shows what is the importance of this particular topic, which is actually there with the recent law, which has actually come here. And there's a good amount of the practice, especially for the professional people. Because when you look at the LLP, when it's come to the agreement, there is no standard agreement and other things and all the things which is there. Because everything will actually depend upon the nature of the business, the nature of the partners who want to do what, etc., and other things and all. The fundamental document, which is actually adopted as an agreement to the LLP, is a very, very important one, which will actually spell out entirely A to Z, at least to 95% of the things, because there should not be any ambiguity. Because basically, when we talk about the agreement is what? Agreement should talk about what is the LLP, what is the relationship with the partners, what is the liability, etc., etc. It has to talk about it. Second thing is LLP also should be very clear on the financial aspects, maintaining the books of accounts, year, charging, etc. All those things, provisions, everything it has to be spelled out. And the third thing is the administrative aspects. When we talk about the administrative aspect, we have to visualize many unforeseen things. Suppose the LLP, what happens is, if the partner actually ceases to be on account of the death, he has actually become a partner. True. But suppose his higher don't want to become a partner, then what happens? This situation is actually the very tricky situation, how to handle. I think Mr. Thirupal will be sharing his experience on this, What are the things? Second thing, when we talk of the profit sharing ratio, when we form that, we agree for the profit sharing ratio. New partners comes in, the profit sharing ratio changes. Then what happens? How do we work out? What are the things, etc. There are many issues also. Suppose disputes comes. For dispute, everything we cannot run to the court. Dispute, there should be a mechanism. Normally, people resort to the arbitration clause, which is actually built in, etc. and other things are done. So there are many issues on this LLP agreement, which is the fundamental documents, which it talks about various things on the LLP, various things on the partner, various things on partner liability, duties, responsibilities, various other aspects, etc. But reading is something, but learning from the practical aspect is something. That is where we get the benefit of these seminars. And next thing is, Sudhakar actually mentioned to it, I 100% agree. When we come for anything, even in our normal routine classes in the college days, school days also, normally we go to the colleges, we go through the lessons before the teacher takes it. So that, when he actually talks about it, we understand fully and we raise the doubts then and there, whatever it is. And added to it, there's a homework has been given to us so that we refresh. This is what it happens. Here also, I would actually say, if you come prepared, it is going to be very meaningful things. You can get clarified, you can get to know the insight, etc. and other thing and all. And I also like to say something. As he rightly puts it, this is going to be a webinar which is going to run series of seminars. There are topics will be taken one after another. Today's topic is actually restricted only to the partners liability, formation, incorporation, etc. Let us restrict our questions only to these topics. If any other questions are there as a moderator, I will go through it. If it is going to come in the later, I won't be taking those questions. And for maintaining a better quorum, I would ask all of you to put the questions in the chat box. And wherever you would like to speak, we will allow you to speak, but we'll do it at the later stage, it's not in between. Let us not disturb the flow. No other disturb, but the relevant question when and there coming clarification, definitely we will be taking it, we'll be addressing it. I would like to assure you, all your queries will be addressed at the end of the webinar. When we actually completed, nothing will go unanswered actually. So that assurance you can definitely have it. And I also would appreciate from the participants, if they have their practical experience which is relevant, you are welcome to share it so that better benefit of the people, that will be actually helpful. You should be, learning from each one of us. Because in the seminar, I always look forward when I come here, not only, of course, I have certain experience, but the thing is today, there are many things have changed, laws have come, amendments are taking place, modifications taking place, so many practical things which are actually keeping by the practical, where we get the panelists. So all the things which adds knowledge, I keep on learning. At the end of the seminar, I definitely get fully satisfied. I learned something today. That is a satisfactory, and that will be the true in each one of them. So with these words, I give a pause here. I would ask Jasveen to proceed with the presentation. Let me monitor whatever the queries on the chat box initially, then whatever the discussion, we'll take it there. Thank you. Over to
Thank you
Jasveen,
so much,
please.
sir. Thank you so much, sir. A very good morning to the esteemed panelists and the participants who have taken out this time on this beautiful Saturday morning. This is the second webinar in the series on masterclass on the LLPs. In the first webinar, we saw about a brief introduction of the LLPs along with their features and critical definitions involved in the LLP Act. Today, we shall understand the incorporation compliance and procedure, and we shall deep dive into the relationships, liabilities, and contribution of partners in an LLP. Incorporation of an LLP. Incorporation of an LLP shall require at least 2 or more persons who come together to carry on a lawful business with a view to make profit. As it was also discussed in the last webinar, that an LLP cannot be a non-for-profit organization. It has to be with the motive and view to make profits. The requirements for registration of an LLP. The LLP shall have at least 2 designated partners, out of which at least one of them shall be a resident of India. These designated partners must have a DPIN or DIN allotted. However, an application for up to 5 individuals can be made in the incorporation form itself for application of DIN or DPIN as the case may be. Further, every LLP shall have a registered office wherein the service of documents, etc. can take place. The incorporation of an LLP shall be through the web form Philip, which aims to simplify the process of incorporation of LLP and its registration with the Registrar of Companies. The Philip form is processed at the CRC. Philip form is an integrated form which allows the application for reservation of the name of the LLP, application for allotment of DPIN or DIN up to 5 individuals, an application for issuance of LLP in, which is LLP incorporation, LLP identification number, consent by the designated partners under Form 9 to act as the designated partners of the particular LLP, and pursuant to a recent amendment, an application for PAN or TAN allotment shall also be combined with and integrated in the form Philip. The various fields, a gist of the various fields involved in the Philip form are as follows. The name application, whether it is being made through Run LLP or through Philip form. So whenever you apply for the name of an LLP, you have an option either to make a pre-application and reservation of the name under Run LLP form, which allows the LLP to reserve its name for 3 months, or to make an integrated application for name under the Philip form. So in case the party or the LLP has already made an application and received an approval of the name, then they shall insert the Run LLP SRN, where the information of the reserved name shall be auto-populated to the form. Every LLP shall have the word LLP or limited liability partnership written at the end of the name. Thereafter, the address of the registered office of the LLP shall be mentioned, along with the proof of address and the NOC from the owner of the property. The details of the business activity that is carried on by the LLP, along with its NIC code. The total number of designated partners and partners of the LLP, along with the details of the individuals acting as partners or designated partners. The total monetary contribution that is to be brought in by the partners pursuant to the LLP agreement, and the information related to the AO code, etc. for PAN and TAN allotment. Thereafter, every individual acting as a designated partner shall give their consent to act as the designated partner of the LLP. This is pursuant to a linked form now. This form 9 is now linked to the Philip form. The Philip form is required to be certified by a professional who can be a CA, CS, cost accountant, or an advocate who certifies that all the requirements related to the incorporation of the LLP have been met with according to the LLP Act. The compulsory attachments to the Philip form shall be the proof of the office address. This can be in the form of the lease agreement, rent agreement, or in the form of copy of the utility bills not older than 2 months. The utility bills can be in the form of the electricity bill or the telephone bill of the premises. Additionally, the NOC from the owner shall also be attached. Thereafter, the subscription sheet, which states the total monetary contribution to be brought in by the partners of the LLP, the consent by each designated partner under Form 9. In case the individuals do not have a DIN or DPIN, then a proof of the identity and the residential address of such individual for the allotment of DIN shall also be attached to the Philip form. The list of LLPs or companies in which the designated partner is already an existing to be a director or partner shall also be mentioned. Further, in case of certain sectorial compliances or sectorial approvals required, a copy of the approval from such sectorial regulators such as RBI, etc., or any other sectorial regulator for that matter shall also be affixed to the Philip form. The Philip form shall have the digital signatures of all the partners affixed to it. Particularly Form 9 also requires, the digital version of Form 9 requires the affixation of the digital signatures of all partners. Upon filing of the Form Philip, there are two scenarios that can occur. Either the CRC may call for further information or require the removal of certain defects, for which they shall provide an opportunity, two opportunities of resubmission of the Form Philip, which is to be filed within 15 days of receipt of communication. Or if the CRC is satisfied that the application is complete, then in that case, they shall issue a certificate of incorporation under Form 16 and allot the PAN and TAN for the LLP. Such certificate of incorporation shall act as a conclusive proof of incorporation of the LLP thereafter. The effect of such registration or incorporation of the LLP shall be that it shall become capable of suing and being sued. It shall be capable in its own name to acquire, owning, holding any property. The LLP can have a common seal if it decides to do so, if the partners decide to do so, and doing any other thing as a body corporate may lawfully do. So this gives the right to the LLP to get incorporated as a separate entity and a separate body corporate. Publication of the name of the LLP. Every LLP shall ensure that its invoices, official communication, and publication bear the name of the LLP, the address of the registered office, LLP registration number, and a statement which states that the LLP is registered with a limited liability. If the LLP contravenes this provision, then it shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 10,000.
This is very similar to the company law provisions, right? So if you're not mentioning on your letterhead about those details, then you are penalized.
No, you see,
Absolutely.
there's one extra that she stated, that statement that it is registered with limited liability. In addition to the name, address, and LPIN, we need to make one statement. This is not there in Section 12 of the Companies Act, whereas in LLP Act 21 it is there. So everywhere invoices, letterheads, and publications, we should make extra, like people should aware of it. This LLP has a limited liability. And similarly, if there is any company, sir, is getting converted into LLP, we need to write about the earlier it was a company, then subsequently it got converted into LLP with a limited liability. One extra statement will come for that.
So
This,
see,
sir.
sorry, continue.
Yeah, this statement should be permanently there in the all invoices. And then publications and correspondence. Means letterheads also we should maintain the limited liability concept.
So many LLPs are getting converted into a private limited company, or Visa. I don't know about Visa. Is also private limited companies are getting into LLP.
Yes, sir.
So something very similar, like where earlier we normally into bracket, we write earlier it was private limited company. Now it is LLP. Something like this.
Yeah. The statement is to be made as per the conversion process.
No, here actually, as Thirupal puts it very clearly, the LLP should be mentioned so long as it is LLP is there. But if the LLP gets converted to the private limited, you have to delete that LLP. If we continue to use the LLP, that becomes a contravention. Because so long as it is LLP, that statement has got to be there, it is indicating this is an LLP. When the conversion takes place, then again you have to reprint deleting the statements.
Okay. So same provision, which is similar, and you said there are one additional provisions, which one is to comply.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jasveen, Sorry, Mr. Bala, I think just wanted to introduce Jasveen. Jasveen is one of the youngest partner in our Mehta and Mehta team. Thank you. Yeah, you can continue, Jasveen.
So, Thirupal,
Thank
this
you so much, sir.
statement, what you are mentioning, it should be in perpetuity on the letterhead and invoices
Yes.
of the companies or for a specified period.
No, sir, it is this particular statement, especially registered with limited liability, should be perfection.
About conversion of a private company into LLP, you have
That they
mentioned.
are given 12 months time.
Okay.
Like you have change of name from one name to other company name in the section 12, we need to maintain that thing 2 years.
For a
time.
period of 1 year, you have to do that.
1 year something. Yeah, same way here 12 months time is there.
Certain penalties that are applicable. The penalty for any false statement made in the during the incorporation of the LLP. For this, the person, especially the certifying professional, shall be liable for an imprisonment for a maximum period of 2 years and a fine of rupees 10,000 to 5 lakh rupees. Further, the penalty in case of the improper use of the words LLP, which means any organization or any entity that is not a limited liability partnership, but uses the term LLP or limited liability partnership as the case may be after its name, then in such case, they shall be liable to a fine of rupees 50,000 to 5 lakh rupees.
So, so when you say, just go to the, so when you say false statement at the time of incorporation, so the example can be like if I'm a NRI and I'm not disclosing at the time of, or foreigners for that matter, then probably I think, yeah, this comes into the existence. Yeah, Thirupal?
Yes, sir, it does.
Yes, sir. In fact, we have seen many people that though they are permanently, staying at Dubai, especially, they use their local addresses to create this company, and they state that as their residents in India. So, which is going to be false only. Later, it is found based on their visa entries and all. It will be very especially after this as a professional, we are supposed to inform our KYC of the client as per latest Binami transaction, and also there is a requirement, no? So we need to, as a professional, we should also ensure that what the statements they are making is correct or not.
Sorry, at the time
So
of incorporation, I was a resident, and suddenly after 1 year, I become a NRI and all, or so is there any provisions to intimate to the ROC?
Sir, you have to file your DIR if suppose you have a DIN number and you
Yeah.
are also designated partner. There is a Form 6, DIR 6 should be filed within 1 month from the change. And your all data like DIN kind or even DPIN, everything will be updated in the MCA records. That is a
any change relating to the DIN related information which is provided originally when you obtain the DIN number, any change take place. That has to be filed separately as Thirupal puts it in the DAR 6 form. It has to go automatically within 30 days.
And there is a yearly, KYC also there. DIR 3 KYC is there, and you should ensure that you are giving, in what is the appropriate information and right information. After 1 year, you must have moved to the Dubai, and so you should ensure that you are giving Dubai address as your present address. You may continue to use as a non-resident Indian, and permanent address can be in India, but as far as the present address should be, Dubai address.
Yeah, this will continue. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. The most fundamental part in the incorporation of the LLP is the drafting of the LLP agreement, as Bala sir mentioned in the introduction as well. LLP agreement is the fundamental charter document of the LLP, which governs the mutual rights and duties of the partners of the LLP inter se, as well as the mutual rights and duties of the LLP and its partners. The LLP agreement is required to be filed with the Registrar of Companies in Form 3 within 30 days of its incorporation. And in case of any change in such agreement, the change shall also be intimated under Form 3 within 30 days of such change in the agreement. In case the LLP agreement has been entered into before the incorporation of the LLP, the same shall be binding on the LLP only if it has been ratified by all the partners of the LLP post its incorporation. Further, LLP agreement shall be subject to stamp duty as may be applicable as per the rates.
Let us take some questions which is relating to the register office and incorporation. Someone is putting a question here for registered office. Rent agreement are required or only NOC is enough? I think you already covered this giving the details. This already answered this question. Do we need to comply similar requirement of the incorporation of the LLB for conversion of the private limited company in LLB? Yeah, that also I think we talked just now only about the conversion factor, etc., and also regarding this LLB usage, etc. We talked about it. Do we need compliance with similar requirement of the incorporation LLB in Pro? Yeah, that is all right. Can the house owner himself is a DP in LLB? Still NOC is actually required.
Yeah, house owner has to give, saying that he has no objection to house the LLP in his house.
Correct. LLB being a different person, artificial person,
Yeah,
because LLB is going to use this, the no objection certificate is a must, although he is a house owner. That is right. You are
Yeah.
absolutely right.
should be given.
Within how much time contribution as mentioned, the LLB deed is required to be brought in. I think she's addressing it in the later portion. Can LLB formed with the CA, CS,
Valuer,
valuer, engineer with NOC, IP is required? Can be required as IPE, IDBI without it disturbing earlier LLB status of the other professional?
Yeah, this is the regulatory should decide. As of now, I think there is no concept of multidisciplinary LLBs or regular partners. Maybe in days to come, I think they may allow.
Can an LLB have a separate register office or corporate office? Of course, you can have it. There's no problem. Register will be the place where
This will
you
be covered
normally
in the
receive.
later on slides as well.
This is also coming here.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, it is there, of course. Yeah.
In which section of the Companies Act it is said that is SIN or register office used to be printed on the letterhead?
Section 12, I think I've already informed.
She has already addressed this
Yeah,
question. actually.
in case of Companies Act, it is section 12. In case of LLP Act, it is section 21. Reverse.
Since the common seal is actually discretionary from the practical business perspective, see the common seal is required. Bank demand a fixation of the common seal on the loan agreements.
It is up to you. There is no requirement to have the common seal.
Actually, mandatory requirement is not there, though it was there earlier, which is actually done away with that.
That is in the companies, but LLP, there is no concept of common
LLP,
seal.
there is nothing is there, but the bankers are all insisting it is up to you. You know to convince them this is the requirement, this is the law.
Correct.
Firm already have LLP in its name. Then also we need to fulfill the last two points.
What is the last point?
I think probably he's talking that mentioning the LLP status. Why he is using the word firm, I don't know. Firm already have LLP in its name.
Home has already. No, that LLP, that acronym he is talking. Acronym, that LLP. Should still we need to. Suppose in one name, like example, XYZ firm LLP. Suppose you converted, but firm word will not be allowed to use when you are creating a LLP.
Is a statement of the registration of the limited liability be printed on the company side, LLB private limited. Limited is the part of the name itself is sufficient in this respect.
Correct, but section 21 requires you to print a statement of with limited liability. Only for company LLPs, but not companies. Companies, anyhow, I think it is a known concept for ages. People are aware of it. You are dealing with a limited company. Now, people dealing with the partnership firm, they should also aware of it, whether the partnership with limited liability or partnership firm without limited liability, whom they are dealing. Mere adding the word LLP, people would not be aware of it. The LLP means it is a limited liability partnership firm. That acronym doesn't suggest everyone. Due to that, to bring the lot of awareness, so the tagline is mentioned. They say that registered with the limited liability. The tagline should be there along with your name.
Are there any advantage for the private limited company to convert into a LLP?
Google will answer. Of course, so many advantages are there if you convert. One advantage I think we have already discussed, that was the taxation, especially dividend taxation. It is there in the hands of the shareholder. In LLP, there is no such taxation. And one, again, I told you, related party transactions are not regulated. Anything that you pay having profits, there is no deemed dividend tax to the LLP. Like that, so many others are there. If you do deep dive over a period of these all our sessions, you would be knowing what exactly the adjustments are advantages that are available to the LLP companies, LLPs over the company.
If client is providing
Thirupal, 1 minute, Bala. Thirupal, is CSR applicable to LLPs?
No, CSR is not applicable to LLPs.
So there are some key sections like section 188, 135, till recently section 90.
Yeah.
All these major sections were not applicable to LLPs.
No,
of course, now
recently,
section 90 SBO is applicable to LLPs also.
89 they've enforced. So
Yeah.
probably in future, I think now there is a pipeline, sir. They want to impose the accounting standard, accounting format and accounting standards, and also auditing standards. Both will be applicable to the large LLPs, because now huge corporates are creating LLPs, but whatever the advantage they have, so they are creating, but there is no format of the balance sheet. So they are following.
In fact, according to me, they should make section 135 is also applicable to
Yes.
LLPs.
There
Yes,
may
sir.
be. Once
as on today, it is not there, but probably it might come.
Yeah, once
Correct.
you have the profit and all, they can do it. Its possibility is there.
If the client is providing the information about the residential status, how can we check his or residential status?
But I didn't get that.
He is asking, how do you check the residential status is correct?
Again, you have to approach that, filing the DIR 6 only. No other status change can happen through the LLPs. Filing any form.
In case of the change of LLP, I think she is going to talk about it later.
Yeah, I think everyone should sign. That's the last time also we have said that if there are any changes, all partners should sign. It is like a capitalist country kind. It is LLPs and working on the capitalist method. So everyone should sign.
Multidisciplinary firms are allowed. I think he talked about it today. There is nothing
Yeah.
we are not very clear on that. Okay. I think that's all concerning with the incorporation and other things are done later.
There are something agreement related queries.
Yeah, that we'll see later. Yeah. Go ahead, Jasveen.
Thank you, sir. So as regards the LLP agreement, as we were discussing, this is the most important document which determines the rights and duties of the partners as well as the LLP towards its partners. The drafting of such an LLP agreement is one of the most crucial step involved in the incorporation of the LLP. A few examples of the clauses that are to be provided in the LLP agreement are as follows. The name clause, which means the name of the LLP shall be particularly stated. The type of the LLP agreement, which is, it can either be an equal rights agreement, which basically means here the contribution, profit sharing, share of the loss of the partners is equal, divided equally amongst the partners. And the second type is the differential rights, which means that the contribution, profit share, etc., changes from one partner to the other. Registered office, the particulars and details of the registered office of the LLP. Parties to the LLP, which means the partners and the designated partners of the LLP with their particular details, including their DINs or in case of designated partners. the business activity of the LLP. So this basically governs the entire premise of the objective for which the LLP has been incorporated. Duration of the LLP. In certain cases, the LLP has been incorporated only for a particular time duration or a particular project. In such a case, the same shall also be defined in the LLP agreement. The contribution of each of the partners, as well as the clause for the procedure involved for increase in the contribution in case of any change that takes place henceforth. The profit and loss sharing ratio inter se amongst the partners. The remuneration clause for partners and designated partners. The procedure for admission of a partner or secession of a partner or designated partner. The record keeping, which means how would the LLP carry on its record keeping process or bookkeeping. Accounting of the LLP. If the LLP or the partners inter se want to determine a procedure or a particular, like Thirupal also said that if they want to voluntarily also adopt the accounting standards, they are free to do that. But the
Yeah.
same should be defined in the LLP agreement.
Yes, in fact, LLP Act allows you to have cash basis and also accrual basis accounting. Both are permitted. Unlike Companies Act, if you see the 128 of the Companies Act, it says clearly double entry system and accrual basis. Two words are there. If you look at the LLP rules, it says clearly either you can have a cash system or you can go with accrual basis. Both are permitted in LLP. So you can decide through your agreement how you want account.
Thank you, sir. Next is the financial arrangements. That is, how would the operations of the banks and any other financial arrangement inter se among the partners would take place in the LLP agreement. The management and fiduciary duties of every partner. The procedure for conduct of the meetings of the LLP, including the voting rights. The mechanism for dispute resolution, whether they want to go ahead for an arbitration or any other method that the partners inter se want to adopt. The procedure for winding up of the LLP and any particular clauses that the partners inter se want to adopt in that, and any other clause that the partners may deem fit to govern and ensure that the LLP runs in a smooth manner.
Nicholas actually shared there is a guidance note on financial statement of the LLB published by the Institute of Chartered Accountants. So that format will become applicable. That is what he shared the information.
Yeah, that is again, if they want to adopt, they can adopt. There is no issue. In fact, in one of the LLP agreement, I saw that when winding up, they have written after 5 years LLP will be wound up. But without looking that clause, they can carry on the business even after I think 5 years also. It still is continuing. Now, is it a deemed approval to continue the business? Though there was an agreement initially and they have agreed and they put that clause and clearly indicating that LLP will be wound up within 5 years, so on and so on. So we have suggested them to modify the clause and then say that LLP will be, as per the act, it will continue.
I think probably they have to make a supplementary LLB agreement to that, commenting the clause, I think. Yeah.
Yes. And this winding up process, I think three-fourth majority is needed. If you want to have a different process, you can capture through your agreement differently.
Thirupal, sir, any other practical inputs for drafting of the LLP agreement that you would like to
LLP
share?
agreement, I think as Balakrishnan sir told clearly, LLP agreement is a very crucial document and you should be able to understand both the, suppose if one single person along with wife, or some spouse and all is coming, there's no much thought process that you need to put in while preparing the LLP agreement. But if there is a joint venture between, two people, like other day I told, so one company has a hotel and it wants to give that hotel to run to the one of the big, hotel running chain. And now they want to create LLP only to capture the operations of the hotel. Okay, with the share. One's contribution is the hotel, and other one's contribution is the management. So you need to capture many things in it. All commercials you can capture in it. Apart from those regular management, what I told, like how to operate the bank account, what are the reserve matters, how this what is that designated partner can work. So many things you can capture, but depending upon the each case, as you rightly pointed out, the format is not there. So you can capture any format. The all the headings that you are given over here are the developed over a period of time. From 2009 orders till date, those developed, and also they are this in the form 3 they are capturing the data of this now. Right, even the revised form 3 also they're capturing data, so that we are incorporating those clauses. Doesn't mean that only those clauses you need to have. It is only basic format. You can have any clause that you want to incorporate and to make it binding the other party. You can have it, there is no problem. And it purely depending upon the facts of each case, how to protect their rights, how to protect their obligations, and all. You can have it anything in your LLP agreement. Nothing is barred. I feel one clause is there, no, in the section I think 6 of the Companies Act, where it says MOA cannot override the act. So many issues are there. A similar section is not there. Only this act says clearly you should not do business for any illegal purpose. That's all. They are not captured like you need to have objects, main objects, incidental activities, or some other object. All those things are not there. They simply say that you should not do the illegal activities. Barring one or two rules, I think it says that if you want to do some regulated businesses, you should get the approval from the regulatory, and it prohibits the, I think, rule prohibits the putting money in or having object, especially into the NBFC kind activities. Otherwise, you can have anything in your LLP agreement. You can incorporate the statutory provisions in it, and you can incorporate the management provisions in it. You can incorporate the rights and obligations of the a particular partner. Everything can be incorporated. A comprehensive document can be prepared this way. And as I told earlier, this LLP agreement is not a public document. The Form 3 you cannot download from the public inspection. It will be available only for the department people. So that way also your secrecy is provided. Yes, sir.
In fact, according to me, Thirupal, that when this casually, as Jasveen has mentioned, LLP agreement is the most crucial one for the LLPs, especially for the partners. So the one should not take this, most of the times what happened is the moment you ask somebody to prepare an agreement, LLP agreement, वो copy paste चलता है to a large extent.
Yeah.
So what exactly they have to do is for any agreement, it's just like a joint venture agreement. First of all, one has to understand that what is the understanding among the partners, what they want to do, how they want to do, why they want to do. And God forbids, I always advise that entry is not very important, but exit is very important.
Correct.
Okay. Suppose, for example, tomorrow one partner wants to exit, how the valuations takes place, how he will exit, whether he has to offer to the continuing partners or can he bring a new partner, all these issues. So what one can do is for companies, the articles of association is the blue book, wherein the procedural matters are dealt with appropriately under the governance of the law. Same is the case, whenever you are drafting a LLP agreement, one has to keep that what are the provisions of the articles of association. You don't need to bring everything, but the key matters, whatever are there. So that what is the end objective? End objective is there should not be any kind of legal issues arising out of this thing, and all the issues to be addressed proactively in the LLP agreement itself.
Yeah, one more thing to add. See, in the Companies Act, there's no concept of expulsion of member. See, you don't have any provision throughout the act. If you do that, you don't get any provision where you can throw away a particular shareholder if you don't want to continue. Whereas in LLP Act, you can put certain circumstance to expel a particular partner. Like suppose he's doing some competitive business or he's joining hands with some competitor and is bringing, reputation damage, all those stuff. If you are able to identify certain situations, and you can certainly throw him off without a signature from the LLP agreement. You don't need his signature to modify the LLP agreement, and throwing him and putting this money in a separate account, at escrow account or something, and whenever he wants, he can draw that money. So this is applicable. As I told, as sir told, in fact, I'll just give you a practical impact. In the year 2010, I think, we have drafted one LLP agreement with the help of the big legal firm, and wherein we paid 2 lakhs rupees their consultancy fees to draft the LLP agreement. Then you can imagine that what is the significance of the LLP agreement. Now, big corporates are venturing into the LLP through LLP model. So it will be a good drafting skills one requires to draft the LLP agreement. Comprehension is needed.
So you meant to say, Thirupal, in the LLP Act, there is a provision wherein you can expel a partner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there are circumstances where the partner is actually found guilty doing anything contrary to the LLP activities, etc., and all those things, he can be expelled actually.
Okay, then
that
means
provision is not there in Companies Act.
Yeah.
in the future presentations, that aspect may be covered by our partners.
Because, when we talk about the admission of the member, you talk about the admission of the member, you talk about the admission of the new partner, you have the cessation of the member.
Correct.
But here expulsion of the member is also permitted. And similarly, Thirupal may be knowing it. When we are talking about the profit sharing ratio, etc., the question will arise. If the losses happen to the LLP, what is the loss sharing ratio between the partners?
That could be different. In fact, 3 things could be different. Need not be through like you are an equity shareholder in a company, and losses and profits and share capital, everything will be distributed equally at the end of winding up and all. Whereas in LLP you can have a different capital ratio, different profit ratio, different loss ratio as well. All 3 can be agreed between the parties and incorporate in your LLP agreement, and you can proceed further. There is no bar in that. So you see the major difference. Someone was asking what is the advantage. See, if you want to create a different voting rights, you need to have a different structure as per the Companies Act using section 43 and 47. DVRs, all those things you should create. In LLP Act, you don't need to create those DVRs. Simply you have an agreement wherein you say that X is having X capital, and however he will be paid only 60% of profit in it. And voting rights also can incorporate accordingly. There is no bar, whatever you envisage that can be because it is an agreement between the competent person and which is valid in the law. There is no concept called you are compelling someone. The agreement between the competent person and they are competent to enter into an agreement, and it's no illegal that you making someone to sign for a he has invested 100%, but he is agreeing for 80%. Nothing. It's not wrong in it.
Suppose, for example, a partner want to actually advance more money than his contribution.
He can do so. There is no problem.
There is no problem. But the thing is the treatment. Again, it has to be spelled out very categorically. It will not form part of the contribution. It has to be termed as a debt. It will be
considered as a loan, and there's an interest portion you can pay.
Interest portion also on that you can fix it. That is also there. So, as Sudhakar also puts it, and Thirupal also emphasized the importance of the LLP agreement, that is a starting point, because that is going to be what you call the basic rules governing the entire administration of the LLP. How the LLP will be run, what are the rights, what are the responsibilities, what are the administrative things will be done by whom, what it is. So the document should be very clear, unambiguity in visualizing all the possible circumstances in future. Otherwise, unnecessarily, as he rightly puts it, we will be landing up in affecting many amendment to the LLP.
No, you will lead to the deadlock. So what are the disadvantages in the Companies Act, like operation mismanagement, all those things can be incorporated over here, and you avoid the operation mismanagement, because LLP agreement should be signed by all the partners.
So, Thirupal, according to me, the company secretaries have to do a good job as far as the drafting of the LLP agreement is concerned. If they want to do a quality service to the LLP, to their clients, my advice is don't please copy paste the things, envisage the things, and prepare a standard LLP agreement and update it from time to time based upon your maturity, based upon the things what you are coming across and all those things. Now, only what happens is, unfortunately or fortunately, whenever we have to do a job, immediate thing what we do, the first thing is put a message in the WhatsApp groups. If anybody have an agreement, draft agreement, please send it to me. Your mind got blocked the moment you got a draft, and you go through that, you will never be able to think further on that. So if you want to take a blank canvas and paint the way you want to paint it. After that, you can take a guidance from the other agreements. I'm not disputing that. Other agreements, you are not supposed to refer it. By all means, please do that. But when you are doing it, the first job should be, by first line what you are drawing on the canvas should be of your own. And let me tell you one more thing also. In one of the companies where I was working earlier, wherein we were to draft a JV agreement, I have given that job to a company secretary and advocate friend of mine. This gentleman has given me the draft agreement. I have gone through, I told him what are the clauses supposed to be incorporated and everything. He has given me that. I have gone through all the things. Unfortunately, I have not noticed one error which my chairman has noticed it. When I have forwarded it to my chairman, what this gentleman did was, in one of the clauses, he has not removed his previous client's name. That client's name was left out as it is. I couldn't notice that, neither he could notice that, but my chairman has noticed it. And he said, this lawyer, whoever has given you this agreement, is a copy paster. I don't want him. Please blacklist him. This kind of risk is there. So kindly be careful about it. Yeah.
Please proceed.
Sir, I think there are certain questions related to LLP agreement
Yeah,
in the
we
chat
can
box.
take that. We can take that. Can we form LLP with the different branches of the same LLP having different profit sharing ratio?
Yeah, see, you can incorporate all those things as long as they are practical and which you are able to comply the especially Income Tax Act. You should keep in mind Income Tax Act. The sharing of the profit from LLP, you all know, is a post-tax. So income tax also will not be worried much about how you are sharing. Once you are able to pay the tax, like you have earned 100 rupees and pay the tax 30 rupees to government, and the 70 rupees, how you are distributing among you are distributing branch wise and each differently again distributing among the 3-4 partners, all are permitted. There is no bar in it.
If nothing is mentioned about the accounting policy, which system of the accounting can be followed?
Yeah, it is better to mention in your agreement. If not, at least some resolution can be passed subsequently by partners to say that let us follow the either accounting standard, accrual basis or the cash basis.
Request your inputs on the following queries of Section 42 of the LLP Act in the context of LLP agreement. Can assignment of the partners' right be done only if the LLP agreement provides for it?
I think if you look at the Section 42, these are the rights provided irrespective of the LLP agreement to the partner. Like there are there in case of Companies Act, like dividend renunciation rights in case of rights shares. Similarly, my profits, if I want to distribute or if I want to say to the LLP boss, you pay to the XYZ, I feel I can do so. For that, LLP agreement doesn't need to agree for it. It is my profit, I can distribute whom I want. Section 42, if you read it, allows you to so. So assignment can be done without any having a specific provision at the LLP agreement. That is the first query.
Who should be the parties of the assignment of the document and how this is practically done?
It is a gift deed between you and the donee, donee donor only. LLP will not be. It is up to you. Yeah. Next
Can
slide.
assign be granted non-economical rights of the assigner, such as power to participate in the management of the LLP in respect of books, etc.?
No, that is not permitted. They have said clearly that the nominee or whatever the whom you are distributing the profits, he has no right, and he never will be deemed to be a partner of the LLP. No, nothing. Like similarly, I told you one example, like if you do look at the section 125, I think subsection 5 says the dividend can be paid to the registered owner or his order. Or his order means you can go give it to whomever you want, that's all. And that person has no right over the company. He cannot do any instruction to the company.
If I understand correctly,
Sir.
what partner is supposed to do in the LLP as per the agreement, that can never be actually delegated.
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
What is arising out of the LLP benefits which he is getting, those rights only can be
Section
actually.
42 provides for it. Clearly, it provides for.
Yeah. Minute book maintenance is compulsory for the LLP.
See, I've seen one LLP agreement between two corporates. Okay, two corporates are there, large corporates. In that LLP agreement, they have incorporated almost all provisions of the Companies Act. Right, beginning having the board meetings, quarterly board meetings, means between the DPs, between two sides, and then the general meeting yearly, and maintaining the minutes, binding the minutes, everything was incorporated. Even rights also were clearly defined, and how the voting will happen at the meeting, everything was recorded in the LLP agreement. If you want to have it, you can do it. It is up to you. It is just voluntarily. If you want to incorporate, you can incorporate all those, procedures. It is up to you.
Can the LLP agreement and provision be put for automatic retirement of any partner, say provision of the time elapsed, repayment of the partner's capital, etc.?
Yeah, this was exactly, I told one case, no, they want to, what is that, liquidate or the wind up the LLP at 5th year, but they forgot it and they were continue to do business afterwards also, whether it was illegal. So you can ratify it. Technically, something you have agreed in between can be ratified at later. So I suggested them to go for ratification. Here, if you want to put something less retirement, suppose you want to retire your active partner, those things you can have it. But regular capital retirement, I'm just worried about it. How you will say that kind of capital?
What is the difference between the profit sharing ratio clause and the type of the LLP agreement, equal differential rights?
Profit ratio, what is the difference between profit ratio clause and type of LLP agreements? Yeah, in fact, we have already addressed this issue that profit ratio could be different and loss ratio also could be different and share capital ratio also could be different, and you call it as a differential rights or differential that you want to call, it should be through a provision, suitable provision at your article. Law is silent about it. And you can have it, any proportion is permitted. Any proportionate having profit, capital and losses between you is permitted. There is no, what is that, illegal. Nothing is illegal in it and nothing is prohibited in the law.
Everything should find a place in the LLP agreement.
Yeah.
That is the short point.
You can emphasize anything, like Sudhakar sir told, no, that you have to emphasize so many things and incorporate in your agreement. We don't know at the time when it is going to be, questioned and all those things.
Can partners
If
of
I
the
am not wrong, just 1 minute, Bala. In fact, if I am not wrong, in the one LLP, a company secretary and practice have been asked to draft in such a way that one gentleman, he has a right to share in the profits. That is also 60% of the profits. He will get it. And as far if the company, if the LLP is into losses, he is nothing, no share to him. Whether it is permitted or not, the answer, if I am not wrong, is permitted. Because if you think that that partner is a good asset to you, and you want to give him only share in the profits and not in the losses, by all means you can do it.
It is permitted.
Yeah.
So only one issue, the remuneration to the partners is regulated by the Income Tax Act. So that you should keep in mind. Like last time I told that up to 3 lakhs, you can distribute as a remuneration to the working partner up to 90% of the 3 lakhs. The balance 10% will be taxed in the hands of the partnership firm, that is LLP. This, whereas the 90% will be taxed in the hands of the partners as per their individual slabs. And if you got a profit over and above the 3 lakhs, 60% of the profit can be distributed among the partners as a remuneration. Among the partners means among the working partners as a remuneration. Balance 40% will be taxed in the hands of the LLP. So this you should keep in mind and fall in line with the Income Tax Act. If you have different proportion here, probably LLP also will end up paying the tax over the remuneration. They will add back the
Thirupal, if I am not wrong, taxation aspects are slightly different because when you call it as a remuneration or when you call it as a profit distribution.
Yeah.
If it is a remuneration, it is an expense to the LLP as such,
Correct.
right?
Yes,
Because
sir.
you are remunerating the partners, it is an expenditure to the LLP.
LLP.
Whereas you are distributing it, it is just like your dividend. There is no tax, as you rightly said, there is no dividend distribution tax.
Yes,
So
sir.
the partners in case of LLP, they might not be drawing any remuneration. They might be having profit distribution. In such case, they have to pay tax at the individual level.
Yes, yes.
So these are all tax related aspects which we can
No.
discuss. In fact, we are going to hold
Yeah.
one exclusive webinar on the tax related aspects.
Yes,
So
sir.
that point of time, we will take up all these issues.
Yeah, correct. Yes. Only the remuneration of the partner that should be captured in the agreement, that line in line should be the taxation provisions. That's what I'm trying to tell.
Correct.
Can partners of the LLP having voting power based on the contribution or based only on the working partners, or should it always be one vote, one partner?
It is up to you how you want to decide. You want to go with cooperative mechanism, one partner, one vote, that is also permitted. You want to give more weightage for the producer company. Producer company will give a more weightage for the person who is doing business with the producer company. There is a patronage bonus and there is a patronage voting right. You know, if you want to give that also, you can do it. If you want to go with purely on the contribution that was invested, that is also permitted. It's up to you. How you want to do it, it is up to you. Again,
even in the Companies Act, we have differential voting rights. At the same point of time, in the listed companies, we have superior voting rights.
voting rights. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
yeah.
It is permitted.
Superior voting rights means one share, 10 votes.
10 votes.
Not one. You know, the right shares are also permitted. Only thing is
Traded
you need
also.
to decide upon that.
Yeah.
Is there any minimum number of the designated partner? Meetings to be
No.
conducted in a year of LLB similar to Companies Act.
No meetings. It is up to you.
Can one partner have a veto rights in regards of the business and administrative procedure?
Or if the other partners agree, you can.
Can we download and see the LLB agreement for reference company public document MCA
No.
site?
As I told you, it is not a public.
It is not a public document. It will not be available.
Yeah. He himself has answered, I think.
Yeah. Either the remuneration, the interest will be added to the partner's capital, then it will be attracted to fill the form of increased capital contribution.
Yeah, it is increased. If you add back to his contribution, it will be considered as increase of capital contribution, and you need to file the revised agreement and also Form 3 also.
Can a partnership firm or the company become a partner in LLP?
This will be taken up, sir. This will be
It
taken
is
up in the
coming up later,
subsequent.
I think so.
Yes, yes.
Guidance note is not.
I think, Bala, that let Jasveen go ahead with her presentation for some more time, and then we will take up questions again.
Okay.
Yeah. Please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Like it has been in the input given by all the panelists is
Jasveen, you have to gallop a bit,
absolutely
I think.
evident. Sorry?
You have to
Sorry, sir?
gallop a bit because you have to galloping because it is 12:14
Yes.
already.
Yes, yes, sir. I'll just go with the presentation. Now, the main question that arises is what would happen if the LLP does not enter into an official agreement, LLP agreement? So, the Act says that in this case, in the absence of a registered LLP agreement, the provision of Schedule 1 of the LLP Act relating to the mutual rights shall become applicable automatically to all partners. We'll just see in brief the certain provisions that first schedule specifies as to the mutual rights. The important point is that this will be applicable only if there is no express LLP agreement. So, in such case, all the partners shall be entitled to equal share in capital, profits, and losses. LLP shall indemnify the partners for any payments or liabilities for its business. Partners shall indemnify the LLP for any loss incurred pursuant to a fraud committed by the partner. Every partner shall take part in the management of the LLP. The partner shall not be entitled to any remuneration for business or management of the LLP. No person may be introduced as partner without consent of all existing partners. This is only if there is no express agreement in this respect. Matters shall be decided by a resolution passed by majority. The decision would be recorded in the minutes within 30 days. Partners shall render true accounts and information. If any partner carries on the same business as the LLP without the consent of the LLP, the profit of such business shall be paid back to the LLP. The benefit derived by the partner without consent of the LLP shall be accounted back to the LLP. No majority of the partners can expel any partner unless express power is under the agreement to this respect. Disputes between the partners shall be arbitration. The model clauses, these are in case there is an express agreement entered into between the partners, this shall not be applicable. The registered office of the LLP, as it has been highlighted, that LLP shall have a registered office to which the service of documents shall be made. An option has been provided under the Act itself that the LLP may declare any other address as its address for service of documents in a manner that can be laid down in the LLP agreement. And if the LLP agreement is silent on it, then the consent of all the partners would be required for the change of such address. The intimation of the other address shall be in Form 12, which shall be filed with the ROC within 30 days of such change. Certain FAQs related to the registered office. Can an LLP shift its registered office from one place to another? The answer is yes. It can do so as per the procedure laid down particularly under the LLP Act, and where the LLP Act does not provide such provision on the unanimous consent of all the partners. What would be the provisions relating to the shifting of the registered office from one state to another, where the ROC jurisdiction also changes? In such a case, the consent of the partners or the procedure as per the LLP Act, if it provides particularly for such a clause, shall be followed. And in the absence of such a particular provision, the unanimous consent of all the partners to shift the registered office. Further, the LLP shall obtain the consent from its secured creditors for such shifting of registered office, and the LLP shall publish a general notice not less than 21 days before the filing of the notice with Registrar of Companies in a daily newspaper to be published in an English as well as a vernacular newspaper. Further, after following such procedure, the LLP shall file a notice of such change under Form 15 with the Registrar of Companies. In regards to the name of the LLP shall not be allowed to get registered with a name which is undesirable or which is identical or too nearly resembles the name of another LLP, company, or a registered trademark. Can a foreign LLP apply for the same name with which it is registered in the country of incorporation, country outside India? In this case, a foreign LLP can apply for reserving the same name as it is registered with for a company in a country outside India, but it has to file an additional Form 25 at the time of incorporation with the registrar to do the same. And this shall be valid for a period of 3 years, after which it shall get this name renewed again. the time period in case the LLP chooses or opts for the run LLP mode option for reserving the name, the time period for reservation of such name would be 3 months from the date of intimation, within which the Philip form should be filed. In case, what would happen if an LLP has been incorporated and there is another LLP which is incorporated with the same name? In such a case, the LLP which is already in existence may apply to the registrar in Form 23 to give a direction to the LLP to change its name post its incorporation. The registrar, the time period for filing such an application under Form 23 is within 24 months from the date of registration of the LLP. And in such particular case, the central government directs the newly incorporated LLP to change its name. The LLP shall be required to comply with this direction within 3 months from the date of receipt.
Does it happen normally like that? Because I understand there is a built-in system is there. And the system itself tells you that this will not be permitted, etc., or something like that. Anything on Thirupal?
Yes, sir. Nowadays, people are managing and getting the name similar to that. So ROC has this power and they are throwing those existing similar name within 3 years. If you approach them, they are changing the name. I think few thousands of companies' names are there with ROC or RD order like that. Company name itself is SIN number, then RD order, like names were removed. It is happening. You will get similar. Yes, system is there, but as long as human intervention is there, system can be bypassed.
Oh my God.
The part of the presentation relating to the partners of the LLP. So the Act particularly states who shall be a partner in an LLP. A person who subscribes their name to the incorporation document shall be regarded as the partner of the LLP, and any other person who subsequently becomes a partner as per the Act and the LLP agreement procedure shall be regarded as a partner. Coming to the FAQs related to who can be a partner in the LLP, first question arises whether the HUF, its Karta, can become a partner or designated partner in an LLP. So as per Section 5 of the LLP Act, only an individual or a body corporate can become a partner in an LLP. Hence, since an HUF cannot be treated as a body corporate, it cannot become a partner or designated partner in the LLP. The second question arises whether a trust or trustee can become a partner in the LLP. So as per an MCA circular 27.
In fact, in HUF, when you talked about it, Karta in his individual capacity, he can become a partner, correct? Because Karta,
Right, so but not representing the HUF.
No. In his individual capacity. As an individual, he can be a partner, but he cannot be a Karta of the HUF, he cannot be a partner.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The second question is relating to can a trust or trustee become a partner in the LLP? So as per the MCA circular number 37 of 2014, it was clarified by the MCA that in case of a trust which is particularly registered with SEBI in the form of REITs or InvITs, they can become a partner in an LLP since they have the separate body corporate status. However, any other trust not formed pursuant to the regulations prescribed by SEBI law, since they are not separate body corporates, they cannot become the partner in an LLP. Whether a partnership can become a partner in the LLP, the partnership is not regarded as a body corporate. Hence, a partnership cannot become a partner in an LLP. The cessation of partnership interest, a person may decide in his own capacity to cease to become the partner of an LLP as per the particular terms stated in the agreement. If the LLP agreement specifies a specific procedure for it, that has to be followed. And in the absence of a particular agreement or particular clause in the agreement in this regard, the partner ceasing to be so or intending to resign from the LLP shall give a notice in writing to the LLP as well as the other partners not less than 30 days before the date of such desired resignation. Further, any person who meets an actual death or dissolves in case of a body corporate, is declared as of an unsound mind, or is adjudicated or declared insolvent, shall cease to become a partner of the LLP. Such a former partner shall still be regarded as the partner for any third party dealing with the LLP, unless the person has given notice that he has ceased to become a partner to such person, or the notice of secession has been delivered and filed with the Registrar of Companies. Upon the cessation of partnership, the cessation to become a partner of the LLP, such a former partner or its legal heirs shall be entitled to the capital contribution originally contributed by the partner, and the right to share in the accumulated profits less the deduction of accumulated losses of the LLP. The registration of changes in the partners. So if a partner changes its name or address, the intimation of the same shall be given by the partner within 15 days of such change to the LLP. This shall be in Form 6. And the LLP shall inform the change of the name or address of the partner, or the appointment of a new partner, or cessation of partnership. So any change in the partnership structure shall be informed to the Registrar of Companies within 30 days in Form 4. And in case of amendment of the agreement due to such change, additionally Form 3 shall also be filed. In scenarios where the LLP fails to file for the cessation of the partner, the person who ceases to be the partner also has the right to himself file the notice of cessation with the Registrar of Companies. In such a case, the ROC shall first obtain confirmation of such cessation from the LLP, and in case they do not receive any revert from the LLP within 15 days, it shall lead to the deemed acceptance. Register of Partners, pursuant to a recent amendment, it has been stated that every LLP shall maintain a Register of Partners in Form 4A, which shall be kept at the registered office of the LLP. The details to be mentioned in such register is the name of the partner, address, email, PAN or SIN in case it's a company or body corporate, father, mother's, spouse's name, occupation. This shall be only in case of individuals as partners. The date of becoming partner, date of secession, and amount and nature of contribution with the contribution. Any changes in such information shall be recorded in the register within 7 days of such change. The partner shall act for the purpose of business of the LLP as an agent of the LLP, but it shall not be regarded as an agent of the definition of the term agent as provided under Section 182 of the Indian Contracts Act 1872, under which it is stated that an agent is a person employed to do any act for another, in this case meaning the LLP, or to represent other, that is the LLP, in dealing with any third persons. To what extent will the LLP be liable? So LLP is usually liable for any act of its partners. However, in certain cases, the LLP shall not be bound by the partner. And this is when the partner deals with a third party about the authority of the LLP, and such third party or such person knows that the partner has no authority, or he doesn't believe or know him to be the partner of the LLP. The LLP shall be liable for all its obligations and liabilities that it holds as a separate legal entity. To give an illustration of the cases in which the LLP shall not be liable, I have taken an example. If Mr. A is a partner of, say, Gamma LLP, and he deals with Mr. X, a third person, without the authority of the LLP, and Mr. X, in this case being the third party, knows that Mr. A does not have authority to deal with him, or he knows that is not the partner of Gamma LLP. In such a case, only the LLP not be held liable for the act of Mr. A in such transactions. The extent of liability of the partner shall not be personally liable for any obligation of the LLP solely due to the reason of being its partner. This is the concept of limited liability. A partner shall be held personally liable for his own wrongful act or omission done without the knowledge of the LLP. However, the partner shall not be liable for the wrongful act of the other partners in the LLP. Unlimited liability in case of fraud. This is the only exemption to the rule of limited liability under the LLP. If any act is carried out by the LLP or its partners with the pure intention to defraud its creditors or any other person or for any fraudulent purposes, basically. So in such a case, the liability of the LLP and its partners shall become unlimited. The LLP shall be liable for the act of the partners unless it has been established by the LLP that the act was conducted without the knowledge or authority of the LLP. Where the business of the LLP itself is carried on with a fraudulent intent, every person knowingly a party to the business of the LLP shall be imprisoned with for at least 5 years and shall be liable to pay a fine of rupees 50,000 to 5 lakh. The LLP and its partners shall be liable to pay compensation to the person who has suffered loss due to such a fraudulent transaction or fraudulent business. This is one of the case laws. This was decided. This is not in the Indian context, but it is applicable and it coincides with the LLP Act. This has been passed by the High Court of England and Wales, which is Hosking versus Marathon Asset Management LLP. Under this, the question of law that arose was if a partner is in breach of its fiduciary duties, then can such a partner be liable to remuneration or the profit share of the LLP? So the High Court in this matter decided, the arbitrator particularly concluded that the LLP is entitled to forfeit any profit share of the partner due to serious breaches of fiduciary duty committed by the partner of the LLP. Whistleblowing mechanism. In this, a court or tribunal has received any important information during investigation of the LLP from a partner or employee of the LLP, or any information has been received from the partner or employee which leads to the LLP, any partner or employee of the LLP being convicted, then in such a case, the court or tribunal may reduce or waive off the penalty to which the partner or the employee was liable. Further, for giving such information, the partner or employee has been safeguarded from being discharged, demoted, suspended, threatened, harassed, or discriminated. The provisions relating to holding out. So if any person who by words or by conduct represents himself or permits himself to be represented as a partner of the LLP, such a person shall be liable to any third person who has acted in good faith of such a representation and given credit to LLP. The LLP shall also be liable for such a transaction to the extent of the credit or financial benefit provided. The only exemption to this is if after the death of any partner, the LLP uses the name of such deceased partner, then in such a case, the legal representatives of the deceased partner shall not be held liable. Understand the concept of holding out better. Let's take an example. In case of an LLP, say ABC Limited, which is 3 partners, Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mrs. C. Mr. A at a meeting with PQR Private Limited introduces his brother, Mr. X, as the partner of the ABC LLP. And Mr. A does not deny the same. On the basis of such representation, PQR Limited extends a loan of rupees 1 lakh to ABC LLP. In such a case, Mr. X shall also become liable to PQR Limited for the credit amount that is extended. Moving on to the concept of contribution of LLP, the contribution of the partners towards the LLP may consist of tangible property, movable property, immovable property, intangible property, any other benefit to the LLP, money, monetary contribution, promissory note, or any agreement or contracts in favor of the LLP. This shall be valued by can be valued by a practicing chartered accountant, practicing cost accountant, or any other proved valuer. The obligation of the partner to contribute the money or the property, as the case may be, shall as per the LLP agreement that has been entered into. The concept under section 42 of transferability, the right of the partner to share profits and losses of the LLP are transferable either wholly or in part. Such transfer of rights doesn't by itself cause the disassociation of the partner or dissolution or winding up of the LLP. Further, such transfer of rights does not entitle the transferee to participate in the management of the LLP or to access information related to the LLP. This had been explained by Thirupal sir as well while answering a question. Let us just take a small example for this. So in case of ABC LLP with 3 partners, Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mrs. C, if Mr. A transfers his right to share profit or loss in the LLP to his wife, Mrs. M, then such transfer shall allow Mrs. M only to the profits or loss share and shall not give any other management right to Mrs. M. Further, Mr. A, in the capacity of being the partner, shall have all the other rights as a partner of the LLP. With this, we've covered the fundamental concepts. So if you may like to take the questions that have been put up.
Very good job done, Jasveen. Very nicely you presented. Thanks a lot. Now to look into the chat box now. Multidisciplinary firms, we talked about it. Please explain capital account of the current data. I have seen these 2 terms in the lot of balance sheet of the LLP. Have we the form for the change of the current account? I think this probably will be coming in the forthcoming slides. The future, we won't discuss that now. What are the monthly, quarterly complaints? I think that also complaints also she's going to discuss later. While filing convert from LLP to private limited has 70 partners, but Spice Part 8 is not allowing the entire details. Please suggest some solution. I've raised various complaints also.
Yeah, this is basically they want to convert an LLP into a company having 70 partner. See, Spice has its own limitation. Even you want to create a company with 10 people, you can't create. LLP means regular companies also will not be allowed to create more than 10 people. If you want to do so, it is a physical. You have to enclose the signed MOA and AOA physically by all subscribers and enclose the same. So conversion also should happen like that only. Physical submission should be there. Spice form will not be used, like Spice MOA, AOA will not be there. Physical MOA, AOA, like foreign shareholders, what we are doing till today, like conversion, like example of producer company. Producer company needs to have minimum 10 people as subscribers. Both the cases we are enclosing physical MOA and AOA instead of EMOS. So probably you can explore that route under section 366.
What do you mean by large LLP? If it becomes large LLP, they need to convert a private limited, I believe.
No, there is no problem. You can have any extent number or capital or the contribution or even the turnover. You can have all kinds of LLP. There is no requirement to reconvert into company. Like take all these big fours and all. No, big fours they have got huge number of partners.
Issue of
Throughout
shares,
India is maybe probably throughout India only one partnership firm they have, having different branches across.
issue of share certificate, is it mandatory to partners? Yes, share certificate question does not arise at all.
See, agreement itself is the kind of document showing your rights and obligation, including your share contribution.
Guidance note, he talked about it, we said. In case of the supplementary agreement to pay stamp duty.
Yeah.
The stamp duty is a tractor.
Yeah,
Maybe-
stamp duty. Yeah, stamp duty is basically it is a state subject. Few states, as I stated in the last session as well, few states have modified their stamp laws covering the LLP as well. Few states have not modified, and ROC people are insisting at least you pay stamp duty as per the LLP agreement. Regular partnership firm agreement.
What is the stamp duty payable? That
Yeah,
varies
there is
from
a stamp
state to state.
duty. Even you reinstate the LLP agreement or you modify the LLP agreement, there is some minimum stamp duty is there, but it goes purely based on the state subject. As I stated in last time, the Karnataka has modified the state law to cover the LLP agreement. I think 40, I think, yeah, 40A of the article of Karnataka, schedule to the Karnataka Stamp Act speaks about the stamp duty payable by the LLP for its capital, and it is every 5,500,000 rupees or part thereof. There is no maximum limit that is there. You need to pay based on the capital. Suppose you have crores of capital, you have to pay accordingly 500 for every 5 lakhs. If there is a restructuring between two LLPs or something, there is a stamp duty similar to the company's merger and amalgamation stamp duties there. So they have modified. Maybe other states would have modified accordingly.
Please advise how to see the PPT in YouTube. Is there any link? No, YouTube, the recorded channel is available. PPT is running. There is no PPT separately shared actually. Of course, I given the link in the later part of it. You can see that. Whether a chartered accountant can value land under the LLP Act if the land is contributed as a capital in kind or partner, and if so, how should such the value any specific method?
The value can be done any methods. Now there is a trained valuers. There are trained valuers are there, and they are clearly given how to value land and building. Maybe chartered accountant can follow the same method. Since the LLP Act doesn't use the word registered valuer for LLP Act purpose, since the chartered accountant, cost accountants are allowed to value that, so they can certainly take the clue from those valuation guidelines and do the valuation.
Can LLP agreement govern restricting voting rights as per the contribution ratio, or if other remains one partner, one voter? This I think you talked about it because the agreement will likely govern everything.
Yeah.
Apart from the register office, is there a need to intimate corporate office? That also I think she covered in her presentation.
Yeah, there is a communication address is there.
Yeah.
Suppose you want to have a registered office address in Bangalore and want to have a communication address at Delhi, it is permitted. You have to file Form 12 informing the communication address. You can call it as a corporate, that is up to you. So they are collecting as a communication address. So ROC also will communicate you with that address, not the registered office address.
Can business clause have main objectives and then other activities clauses one after another?
Yeah, see, again, as I told you, this LLP agreement, there is no format. You don't need to worry about the clause 3 of the MOA. You have a class 3 in the MOA divided into now 2 portions, main objects and incidental activities. If you want, you can follow the same format. Or if you want to go and get the old MOA of Old Companies Act, like all 3 will be there. Like A will be the main object, B will be the incidental, C will be the other objects not covered under A and B. It is up to you. In fact, in one LLP agreement, I have drafted along with similar to the MOA of the old Act, 1956 Act. We have moved that entire content as an annexure to the LLP. LLP agreement.
Any model format of the LLP agreement provided by ICSI or ICAI for reference? I don't think so.
You can
So
Google it, you will get model, but ICAI, both they have not provided any model.
Can the partners inspect the books of accounts?
Of course, you can inspect it. There is no issue, but provided you have an agreement in that you write it, I think it is covered in the rule. Partner has the right to inspect the books. There's no problem.
In case of the change of the authorized signatory for the banking operation of the LLP, is there the need to file a supplementary agreement or a resolution shall suffice?
No, it goes how you have drafted your LLP agreement about the banking operations. So sometimes some banks will insist only agreement. Sometimes some banks will agree with the subsequent modifications, especially administrative thing through resolution also. Apart from the agreement, you can have subsequently a change of authorization, adding the signatory through resolution, they are allowed.
Thirupal, do you need to give the agreement to the banker, you meant to say?
Yeah, like any other partnership firm, no, by opening the bank account, they are insisting certificate of incorporation of LLP agreement, PAN card, and then they're asking GST number, then KYC.
No, no, one minute. Thirupal,
Yeah.
see, when you are entering into an agreement,
Sorry.
okay, if it is a comprehensive agreement, there may be some confidential clauses may be there.
Yeah, it
Right.
will be there, sir.
Suppose
So you
exposing
can-
that, giving a copy. See, that is the reason actually why in ROC it has not been made a public document.
Yeah, that's
But
what.
we are
In fact,
giving a copy
someone
to
made,
the.
I can download. I tried right now. I could not download the agreement.
So what I'm trying to say is why to give this thing to the banker? In fact, at one point of time, to get RBI approval for the joint venture agreements, you have to submit a copy of that, right?
Okay.
When we entered into a JV, there were several confidential clauses are there, and we don't want to expose. So what we did was a 2-page document
Sir.
for the purpose of the RBI. We have entered into a kind of a MOU. You may say that, but you could call it as an agreement. So don't give, according to me, the full comprehensive agreement to the bankers. You may carve out
Yeah,
a kind of major understanding.
correct.
Okay. And that you try to give it to other places. And as number one. Number two, as far as the banking operations are concerned, you can always say that designated partner is authorized or something like that to determine who are the banking operational authorities, etc., etc. So this is where exactly, according to me, the company secretary, who is the PCS, his role comes into.
Yeah, in fact, the banks are interested into the whether you are carrying on your business as your MOA and AOL, whereas Companies Act makes you to carry on business as per MOA and AOL because of those, what is the ultra virus, all those things are there. Whereas the similar provisions are not there in LLP, you can certainly prevail upon your banker and provide only the operating portion, especially how the bank
Correct.
account is operated. That portions can
Correct.
be provided in LLP.
So you can say extracts of the agreement, you can give it. The
Yes.
first page you may give it, the last page you may give it, and the operational page you may give it.
Yeah, bank may
So
not be
my
interested in
advice
all
is
other
that
banks.
don't expose yourself, because normally what happens, the tendency is we don't understand the importance of the agreements.
Correct.
Because the banker insisted, simply the company secretary surrenders it. So never ever give that thing, according to me, because that is a confidential agreement of yours. Why to give it to the banker concerned?
Yeah.
Sudhakar, in this concept, I would like to share one of my experience actually. I was working in the overseas countries. In some of the countries, like Equatorial Guinea, Democratic Republic of Congo, Tanzania, and other places, the ROC, they actually wants the minutes of the board meeting is to be filed with them. That's the rule. Every minutes of the board meeting is required to be filed with the ROC. They call it a registry. Here we call it ROC. That is what it is. I was actually in the tremendous, confusion, because board minutes is actually private document which is applicable only to the board of directors. How can we actually file as a public document? When I started discussing with them, I actually met some of the people in ROC also. Then ultimately, I have been told what we are not interested in your entire board minutes. We are interested what are the board decision you have taken in implementing. That is what we are interested. Then I checked with them what they are doing. They say normally the company secretaries overseas, they prepare actually 2 minutes. 1 minute is actually elaborate minutes, considering the entire board proceeding, etc. And the other minutes is only the decision, resolution part of it. That is what they prepare. The resolution part of it is actually filed with the registry. Other part is actually not circulated at all. It is within the thing. Exactly what you are saying in this case also, I think that is a sensible thing which one should actually do. What is required for the purpose of banking and the general thing which is applicable, you should have the online document or 2 pages document, etc. That should be made available. Rest of the things should be kept confidential. I just thought I'll share with you. This is what my experience was there in the overseas. Should an LLB employ a qualified company secretary?
Please do.
Required. There is no requirement. We don't have to.
Please do
And
it.
mandatorily, it is not
there.
required, but if it is better to have a person in order to compliance, because you have to examine whether you want to incur the cost for the compliance or you want to save the cost of the compliance. That call you have to take it.
Correct.
Subsequent to filing the initial agreement, there can be a changes in the authorized signatory. Maybe form both a designated partner, a specific designated partner, that how can we intimate to the bank?
Yeah, this is basically a change. That's what, again, if you don't want to incorporate those changes in your agreement, you can pass a resolution. Instead of getting the resolution signed by the designated partner alone, you get it signed by the all partners. And that resolution can be shared to the banks.
LLB borrowing bank can see through the LLB agreement that I think.
Bala, before you take up further questions, because since the people are now checking out, let me make one announcement that we have still 4 to 5 webinars are there on this topic of LLP. Let me read out those topics so that people can avoid the questions putting here in this particular webinar. On 20, we have one webinar on accounting and investigation aspects. We have one webinar on the SBO LLP rules. We have one webinar on conversion of LLPs into companies and companies into LLPs, as well as foreign direct investment in the LLPs. And we have one in the winding up and dissolutions, etc. And one last one is going to be the tax related aspects as far as the LLPs are concerned. So whenever you are going to put up the questions, please ensure that the relevant questions may be put up in the relevant webinar so that they will be answered comprehensively to you. I think, Bala, there are 2 hands were raised. Now, I think since we have time, you may ask to unmute those people and they can put the questions directly to you.
Okay. Yes, Rajashri.
Sir, I am a practicing advocate and having 23 years of experience. Just now I had heard that you are saying in a penal provision, there is 5 years of imprisonment for something breach. I just wanted to know, is it maximum quantum of punishment of 5 years or it's minimum? And number 2 is whether those cases will be triable by the magistrate or by the learned session judge.
I didn't get what exactly stated. What is the 5 years and which
5 years 5 years imprisonment in case of any breach or fraudulent.
breach of
Breach or fraudulent. I just wanted to know whether the quantum of punishment is maximum 5 years because just or minimum 5 years. And
See,
I think it must
Thirupal,
be
I
up
can
to
straight
5
away
years.
answer this question. According to me, if I am not wrong, most of the legislations, obviously, they always give it the maximum punishment, not the minimum. And rest is depending upon the judiciary, whoever is the person judging it. Okay, he is going to impose the penalty, whether it is 1 year, 2 year, or whatever it may be. I don't think that any law has prescribed a minimum penal, okay, that imprisonment terms as such. Minimum fine is there, minimum and maximum fine. I'm not sure about LLP Act if that is the case. Just check it out.
So are you referring to intention with the fraudulent business carried out by the LLP? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
what you're
correct.
referring to, sir?
Correct,
Yeah,
correct,
that's what,
correct.
that's what.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
it may extend to 5 years, which means it is
Yeah,
Up to
maximum.
5 years.
It is up to 5 years. It can be anything.
Yes.
And then my second question is whether these cases will be triable by the magistrate or by the learned session judge.
It is imprisonment through court only, no?
Yeah, ROC will launch the prosecution proceeding. It will go to the court. It will be tried by the judiciary.
Under
No,
CRPC.
sir.
it will be-
Whether this is magistrate tribal case or session tribal case.
which
There
are
is a separate webinar we're going to have, sir, on investigation adjudication. I think that will answer your question as well.
Thank you. ma'am.
So can I please
Sorry
ask?
for the inconvenience.
Please.
No,
Not at
no
all.
problem. Yeah. Arunachalam?
Yes, sir. Very good afternoon to you. And thanks for the excellent presentation, Jasveen ma'am. I have a couple of questions. This resolution, what we have been discussing, LLP, that is paused in a LLP meeting where all partners are present or only the designated partners are present?
Yeah, there are technically two types of meetings may be there. One may be if you have entrusted, as I rightly pointed out last time also, as far as the designated partners are concerned, they don't have any right to do business. They are there only obligated to comply the law. If the partners have given any power to them through agreement, and if those powers, if they want to deal with through the meetings, they can do so. That is as far as the DPs are concerned. Coming to the partners again, if they want to take the decision through a meeting, they can take. And if they don't want, they can do decisions through the any mode. It can be through virtual mode, it can be through phone discussion, it can be through even exchange of letter, just writing a some kind of circular resolution, signing, any mode is permitted. What is the model? That schedule 1 is just given a model. And you don't need to adopt that model. That model is applicable when in the options of agreement entered between the partners. And in the agreement, there is no mandatory thing that you should have a minutes. But there should be an evidence that there was a decision made between the partners. Okay, some documents, some recording you should maintain.
Oh, okay. Actually, my second question was regarding that circular resolution, which you have already answered, sir.
And
That is one.
coming to the, I think someone has asked how many, one is a alternate director in company and whether he can be DP of other. See, as per my understanding of this LLP, the DP is just like a directorship. Look at the 165 they have extended in the last year. The 165 of the Companies Act is extended to the LLPs as well. So they have equated the DP position to a director position. They say up to 20 LLPs you can be DP. That means just director, not an executive, not a managing director. So I feel a alternate director in one company can be a DP in partnership, LLP. There's no problem.
See, if you see practically, in the context of say working capital arrangements with banks and all, the banks demand the board resolution. See, where board resolution only the directors resolve to authorize CFO or the vice president finance so much borrowing and all.
Yeah.
Based on our authorized signatory. So those resolutions, the company secretary certifies and presented to the bank.
Correct.
In the similar situation, I thought maybe only the DP alone, meeting of DP alone should be sufficient in a LLP scenario. Am I right, sir?
No.
No.
You have been authorized.
No, assuming the DP is
through your
authorized by
agreement. See,
all the
DP cannot
partners.
make you. Yeah, that can. Otherwise, partners should pass a resolution. Partners only should certify that resolution. In fact, in our case, practically what we are doing, we will pass a resolution and we will ensure all partners are signing on the same resolution. Same page will be signed by all partners. That will be.
But do banks also insist on that, or it's only from the legal safety?
You have to educate the bank what kind of resolution they need. Is it a partner's resolution or the DP resolution?
Oh,
DP has no power as per my agreement, no.
okay, okay. So,
So we are giving, if you look at the Companies Act, LLP Act, especially change of name of LLP, shifting of register of LLP, or the appointment of auditors, everywhere they have mentioned only partners. They have not given any
correct.
power to the DPs.
Okay, okay. So coming to this first schedule, sir,
Yeah.
suppose it says that when there is no LLP agreement, automatically
I think
first
Bala
schedule.
give opportunity to others also, that it should
Just
not
one
be.
last, sir. So one last question, sir, if you don't mind.
Yeah, tell me quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. In the first schedule, by default applies when there is no LLP agreement. Suppose there is LLP agreement, but some classes are missing. Those classes we can fall back on the first schedule where missing classes automatically.
You need to adapt like when you write your AOA, you write clearly whatever is written in that AOA, rest table of is applicable.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Can we
Can I
hear from
please ask, sir?
Vishnu Bagri? Vishnu? Vishnu, you are there?
Yes, sir. Sir, this is so the LLP agreement, can it contain a specific clause that the assigner can at his option cease to be a partner and assignee can become a partner in his place? This I am reading in the context of section 42. Sir.
42,
I
yeah.
need it. Because
But
there it
law
clearly
allows
says
you,
that.
see, law gives you a way out that you can assign your rights to someone else and without consent of other partner. That is exactly the law is there. And if you want to add further to that, as long as it is not prohibited by law, you can do so. There is no problem.
Okay, so if a new partner has to come in my place, I'll have to go through the regular procedure, sir.
Yeah.
It cannot happen through 42.
No, but it through it says clearly, no, part 2, it is
Yes,
clear
sir.
about it.
Yes, sir. Thank you
You
so much.
can't claim that that assignee cannot claim.
Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Srinivas? Srinivas?
Namaskaram, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, for imprisonment declaration, Mr. Learned Lawyer has asked the question. It is the special commercial courts, sir, jurisdiction for
Okay.
imposing any imprisonment
Okay.
up to 5 years.
Okay. Commercial court will be having.
Yes, I've
Commercial
already
courts will.
answered that in the chat. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes, sir.
Section 67A, that will be covered
Oh,
subsequently.
yes, sir. The special commercial courts in every state will have jurisdictions, sir, for that, sir.
Okay.
Any imprisonment in Companies Act. That's the.
Okay. That's good.
Thank
Now
you.
it is already now 1 o'clock, but still we have more questions actually to be answered here. So what do we do?
No, if you are related to the agreement, I think we can quickly rush through and.
Take to the correct
Okay.
Yeah, that much you can take out.
Okay. Management services, conversion, special courts you already answered. Special courts you talked about it. Commercial court, somebody has actually put it here. Subsequent to the filing of the initial agreement, can there be a change in the authorized signatory may be found from both designated partner or the this also I think you discussed actually. Should LLB employ company secretary? We talked about it. Borrowing bank, etc. LLB is borrowing bank and they no, that also you talked about it. Circular resolution also you talked about it. Or DSCs are valid instead of the inked signature for deeds if partners is physically not available on date or event.
No, we are going with inked signature only, not DSC. DSC you can manipulate.
Yeah, wherever the physical document is required, you cannot use the, I think so.
Yes. For physical consumption, we should not use the DSC document. If you are using any electronic consumption, you can use the digital signatures.
Somebody is asking a system related, how can you update only email ID on the
They
LLP and
have
ROC
to
portal?
file form, that is address form is form 5 or something is there, they have to file that. It will get updated. I think we have answered all queries.
I think as far as the agreement is concerned, yes, everything is covered, I think so. Yeah.
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 There are no further questions. Yeah, I think last some Shilpa is asking, as in fact it was already addressed. So if you want to take the advantage of the income tax, then remuneration details should be mentioned over the agreement, like who is entitled, how much, what is its designation. Only working partners are entitled to be paid remuneration as per Income Tax Act, not the designated partner under the LLP Act.
Because
So-
in LLP Act, actually, what happens is the taxation is different than like the company.
Correct.
Because LLP is actually a tax at the rate of 30%. And second thing is, in case of the remuneration, there is a restriction has been actually placed as pointed out by Thirupal. If anything you pay over and above, it will be actually taxed as a personal income in the hands of the partner. That is what it will happen. So one has to give the thought to this aspect, accordingly you have to decide. So it is better to cover actually the LLP agreement itself. What should be the remuneration, what is the increase of the remuneration, what is the decrease of the remuneration, etc. It will be better to put it there actually, taking into consideration. Yeah.
You have to amend the agreement.
Is it mandatory to mention the remuneration amount of the LLP agreement? If you don't want to pay due to loss to the LLP, how to take in the agreement? No, everything should be there in the agreement. Without agreement, there is nothing. Agreement is the binding document. Na?
So agreement is a Bible.
Yeah. It is like a MOA of the company. That's it. I think can closing so because we are closer to 1 ton.
Yeah.
Jasveen, I would like to definitely once again like to express my sincere thanks for putting everything in a very, very capsule form and bringing it out. And your flow was very good actually. Everything you explained very nicely in the very capsule form. My great appreciation to you. Thirupal, excellent with your practical experience, what you shared in the circumstances. Really speaking, as I said in the beginning also, we all learn from the others' experience.
Yes,
In
absolutely.
fact, there is a saying, wisest person learn from the others' experience, while the wiser person learns from his own experience. Third category, I won't talk. Over to Sudhakar, sir.
Thirupal, thanks for
Yeah.
coming to our webinars as panelists for the last 2 weeks. And you also volunteered. And once again, I request you to be there with us and when we are going to discuss on the conversion of LLPs into companies and companies into LLPs. Because you said that you have handled those things and you have good amount of experience in that. In the same webinar, we will also discuss about the FDI related aspects also. That is going to be on 3rd of February. So my request to you is that kindly block your time accordingly.
Sure, sir. I will be there, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, that for accepting our Thirupal, and I'm sure that all the participants got benefited, and especially Bala, when we are hands-on as far as LLPs are concerned. In fact, in the last 2 webinars, I myself learned a lot from your deliberations. And with this, I wish you a very happy Shanti as well as Lori. And till next week, we are signing off. And God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jasveen, for an excellent presentation.
Thank you
Enjoy
so
your
much.
all
Thank you so much.
festivals. Thanks a lot to everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your festive season.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Meet
Thank
you
you.
yet again.
Thank you. Thank you.